What's going on, everyone? Gilman with Live Wealthy Stocks, back with our daily Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded today, some key support and resistance levels that we're looking at going into the future, and based on that, what the future of the stock could look like. And in today's case, we're going to take a look at a product that they launched today and what we think about it. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. We are super close to 1,000 subscribers, all thanks to you guys, and I appreciate your continued support as we try to grow the channel. So if you could do that, drop a comment, let me know what your thoughts on Apple are, what you think of their new product launch today, or if you're invested in Apple, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. And let me go ahead and hit record on my computer and we will get right into it. So Apple was up another 63 cents today, which is 0.51%, continuing sort of that green day, that that upward trend that we've seen in the past few days, which is great news. Right kind of in line with the NASDAQ, which was up 0.5%. The Dow was up 110 points, which is 0.37%. And then the S&P was up 0.29%. So kind of right in line with the NASDAQ, a little bit more than the Dow and the S&P 500. So let's take a look at, kind of what they launched. And then based on that, we'll kind of take a look at, what the trading day and how that looked like. So let's take a look at what they launched. So it is these right here. They're called the AirPod Pro Max. So we know that, they have a tendency of kind of keeping similar names. So we've got the iPhone Pro, and then the iPhone Pro Max, similar case here, where we've got the magic of AirPods, as they say, in a stunning over-the-ear design. Look pretty cool, not gonna lie. As it says right here, they're pretty similar to the AirPods Pro, but in an over-the-ear design. So pretty cool wireless headphones. On one hand, you can make the argument that they're competing with themselves because they now own Beats, but on the other hand, this looks like a really sleek, cool product. My only kind of turn off, I guess, and probably why I won't be buying them, is the fact that they are $549. They have to be super good, and even then I probably wouldn't buy them because I don't care about music or my sound quality enough to justify spending that much money. But that being said, I think it's a nice product. It looks cool. I'd love to try it. Whether or not I will be buying them is definitely up in the air. And then the other thing that I kind of want to point out with Apple is the fact that we are going to see the Fitness Plus launching on 12/14, which I'm really excited about. I've got my Apple Watch. I love to track my workouts on it. So the fact that Apple is launching a product, I think, is going to be really great for them moving forward, because it's going to help them kind of bring everything together within their ecosystem. I know there's been apps out there that can track workouts and such, other third-party apps, but the fact that Apple is coming out with their own, I think means higher quality and just great for their business overall, as they try to move more into the services and have that recurring sort of revenue. As we get the time between people upgrading iPhones has gone up, right? People are waiting more before they upgrade. So the fact that they have services, Apple Music is an example, right? You pay $10 a month, I think that's what it is, and you can kind of have it, right? So $10 a month every month for probably forever, for those of us that kind of have Apple Music. I'm personally a Spotify person, but for those of us that have Apple Music, it's a great sort of form of revenue because it's on a recurring basis. So back to the stock and what we see with the stock. So going back to yesterday, we ended the day right at the VWAP, in the high 123s. Pre-market this morning, we were looking kind of weak. It was going down 122.97, and then boom, right off the gate, we shot up, almost hitting that 125 mark, right? And then we kind of opened and we sold off. So from this 125, dropped all the way to 123.13. Looked like it was going to be a red day, a little bit of a slowdown in the trend we've seen in the past couple of days. Kind of normal, right? We've gone up a decent amount in the past week or so. So pullback is fine, right? It's healthy. I keep saying that. But then we were going up against a VWAP. We not only broke VWAP, but we didn't really revisit it until kind of the very end of the day, right? So broke up, pushed, broke, almost broke that 125, right? So we talked about how 125 was potentially going to be a mental resistance point. Before we get to that other resistance points that I've been mentioning in my video, going back to I think a month or 2 months ago actually, in the 125s. But that 125 did hold up as a mental resistance. We did not break it. Got pretty close to that 125 level before we sort of sold off into the close. We were up 63 cents for the day, down 7 cents after hours, so not too shabby there, pretty flat after hours. Let's take a look at kind of what we see on the daily chart. For those of you guys that have been here for a while, you know, we had this period of making lower highs, followed by this period where this line was coming down, this line was coming up. We were forming a wedge, looking for that breakout. Sure enough, we got that breakout just a couple days ago on 1201, and then we pushed up past this 121.50 level, and now we were trading above it. We went down to validate it once, and now we are pushing up. So we were watching three levels, 117, 119, 121.50. Those levels are kind of gone. Can come back if we fall though. 121.50 should hold up as good support. So what is sort of, what we do is we take a look at kind of what's coming from a resistance levels perspective and what we have as a support level perspective, right? So let's take a look at it from the support level perspective. One thing I want to point out is now for the past 3 days, we've made a higher high and a higher low. And if I extend this line out, you know, we are still finding that line as sort of resistance. That's going to go away soon because I don't think it'll be too relevant anymore. But what we are seeing is we are making a higher high, higher low on the chart, which means the low of today is the level of support for tomorrow, right? So let's say we drop tomorrow, one level of support would be today's low, which is 123.09. Then we've got 122.25, and then the day before we've got that 121.52, which perfectly aligns with our 121.50 level. That's from a price level perspective, what we can expect to find support at. We don't have to find support at any of those points, but those are the levels that I'm watching personally if the stock decides to take a dip tomorrow. From an EMA perspective, right, we've got the AEMA coming in right at 122.02, which kind of aligns with the low of yesterday, which is at 122.25. So those two together, one of them we hopefully do find support, and if we drop, and then we've got that you know, 121 level, 121.50, excuse me, level that we talked about, and that takes us to the 21 EMA coming in at 119.66. and the 34 EMA at 118.50. Between those two, we have another level of support in the 119 line. And then if we dip far enough, we've got the 116.80, which kind of coincides with our 117 line. Then all the way at the 89 EMA, we've got it at 113, which also happens to be where we have one of those lines. So realistically, I'm looking at the AEMA and yesterday's low kind of in the 122s, and then that 121.50 level to hold unless we see a crazy sell-off for whatever reason, right? Those are the levels that I'm personally watching. Moving averages are probably not going to be too relevant here. Yeah, they're all the way down at 119 and 117. If we do fall that much, we can see support there. From a moving up perspective, right, what do we have, right? So we were talking about yesterday's high being a level that was at 124.57. Clearly today's high, as we saw, was 124.98, right? That would be, and then we closed in 124.38. So if we move up, that's the first level that we have to knock out. Basically 125, because that's acting like a mental resistance right now. Once we knock out that 125, right, that takes us all the way kind of back here to 1013, and hope, you know, if we knock out 125, hopefully 125.39 isn't that much harder to knock out, right? So the first one is that 124.98/125, right? Break 125s. Once we break 125s, beat this high of 1013 at 125.39, which takes us all the way back to September 3rd, where we want to break the high that day, which was at 128.84. Taking us to the next level of resistance, excuse me, coming in the day before at 137s. I think 125 and 128 are the levels that I'm shooting for from a resistance level, and we will kind of see how it trades. But great looking week for Apple. I mean, from 1124 to today, we are up from, you know, touching a low of 112 to 125, right? $13 about 10 to 12% or so in just the last, kind of 8 to 9 trading days, which is great for a company like Apple, right? We're talking a $2 trillion company, super stable company. So you're not going to see those huge gains that you would see with a lot of these growth stocks, but still a great move for Apple, and I'm really happy with the way it's been trading. So let's see how it goes for the rest of the week. I'll be back for another video tomorrow. I hope you guys are all having an amazing start to your week. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.